Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There is a strange habit you may have carried for years without ever giving it a name. You hand the keys to your peace to other people. You give them to the difficult neighbor who says something unkind. You give them to the boss whose mood changes before lunch. You give them to the relative who knows exactly what to say to get under your skin. And then you wonder why you cannot have a peaceful day. Think about it. Someone says something careless, and it stays in your mind for hours. Someone ignores you, and you begin wondering what you did wrong. Someone criticizes you, and suddenly you are defending yourself in a conversation that ended 3 hours ago. Someone is angry with you, and you carry their anger home with you. You may even lie awake at night replaying a few words that took another person 10 seconds to say. Why give another person that much power? You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the traffic on the highway, and you certainly cannot control what another person chooses to say, think, or do. But you can decide what happens inside your own mind after it happens. That is where your freedom is. You have a life to live, work to do, a family to love, dreams that still deserve your attention, and years ahead of you that should not be spent carrying somebody else's temper, criticism, jealousy, or resentment. You cannot prevent someone from bringing their storm to your doorstep, but you do not have to invite the storm inside. And once you understand that, you begin to discover one of the greatest forms of personal freedom a person can possess, the ability to remain at peace even when the world around you is not. So, before I explain what to do about this, let me simply acknowledge what it costs. You carry more than you show. The friction at work that followed you to the dinner table. The comment a family member made last Sunday that you are still turning over in your mind. The colleague whose attitude has been making the office feel smaller than it should. The neighbor whose behavior has been living rent-free in your thinking for longer than you care to admit. These are not small things. They are the daily texture of a life being lived among other human beings, many of whom are not at their best on any given day. And you, being the kind of person who takes things seriously, absorb more of that than you should. You are giving away your emotional control. Your peace does not disappear because somebody else has a bad temper. You lose it when you hand that person the authority to decide how you will feel. This is the central distinction, and it is one worth sitting with carefully before moving on. The difficult boss did not take your peace from you. He cannot reach inside your mind and remove it. What happened is more specific than that. You observed his behavior, assigned it meaning, and then allowed that meaning to determine your emotional state for the next several hours. He provided the stimulus. You provided the response. And the response, the hours of internal replay, the mood carried home, the sleep interrupted by a conversation already finished. That was entirely yours. This is not a criticism. It is simply an accurate description of the mechanism. And the reason it matters is that if you understand the mechanism, you can change it. The man who has handed the keys to his peace to every difficult person in his neighborhood is not a weak man. He is a man who has not yet understood that the keys were his to keep in the first place. Epictetus, who spent years as a slave before becoming one of the most studied philosophers of the ancient world, understood this from the most direct possible vantage point. His freedom of movement was controlled entirely by others. His material circumstances were not his own, and yet he taught with the authority of genuine experience that the interior life remained entirely his possession. He wrote, "Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things." The thing that happened, the careless remark, the criticism, the difficult encounter, is a fact. It occurred. It is finished. The disturbance that follows is not a fact. It is your interpretation of the fact, and interpretations, unlike facts, are adjustable. This does not mean feeling nothing. It means understanding that the feeling is produced by the interpretation, and that you have genuine authority over the interpretation. Not perfect authority, habit runs deep, and the reactive interpretation often arrives before the considered one. But the considered one can be trained to arrive sooner, with practice. The first question to ask, in the moment after a difficult encounter, is this: am I disturbed by what happened, or by what I am telling myself about what happened? In most cases, if you are honest, the answer is the second, and the second is within your reach. Stop taking everything personally. You don't have to investigate, interpret, and emotionally answer every behavior you encounter. The colleague who is short with you this morning may have had an argument with his wife before he left the house. The neighbor who failed to acknowledge your greeting may simply have been distracted. The relative whose comment landed poorly may have said exactly the same thing to 5 other people that afternoon, thinking nothing of it while you spent the evening working through its implications. You can spend an entire evening trying to understand why someone treated you badly while that person has already gone home and forgotten the conversation. That accounting, your evening against their forgotten afternoon, is worth examining. Most difficult behavior is not about you. It is about the person producing it, about their particular mood on a particular day, their history of handling stress, their own unresolved difficulties that are looking for somewhere to land. You happen to be present. That is frequently the full extent of your role. This is not a reason to accept mistreatment with passivity. Genuine disrespect, consistent unkindness, behavior that crosses a clear line. These deserve a response, addressed calmly and directly when the time is appropriate. But the careless comment, the passing mood, the momentary friction of ordinary life among ordinary people, these do not require your investigation. They require your perspective. The perspective that the other person is a human being having a human day, and that their behavior is primarily a report on their interior condition rather than a statement about your value. Withdraw the investigation, keep the perspective, and let the event be as small as it actually was, rather than enlarging it by giving it the prolonged attention that makes it feel significant. Learn the difference between what deserves your attention and what doesn't. 3 choices are available to you in any difficult encounter. The first is to answer it. When something genuinely matters, when a relationship requires honest conversation, when a boundary has been crossed that will be crossed again if not addressed, when a matter affects your work or your family in a way that silence will only worsen, address it. Calmly, directly, at an appropriate time. Not reactively, not in the heat of the initial frustration, but deliberately. This is not weakness. It takes more composure to address a difficulty clearly than to absorb it or to react to it. The second is to let it pass. When what you are dealing with is someone's mood, a careless remark, a temporary irritability, the kind of friction that is genuinely not worth the energy of a response, let it go. Not suppressed, not denied, not swallowed resentfully. Simply set down, recognized for what it is, small, temporary, not yours to carry, and released. The third is to walk away. When a relationship repeatedly costs you more peace than it returns in any other form, distance may be wiser than another attempt at resolution. This is not a dramatic declaration. It is a quiet and practical decision to reduce the exposure to a source of consistent damage. Some people in your neighborhood, your workplace, your family, are simply not going to behave differently regardless of how clearly you address the situation. The decision to reduce your proximity to them is a decision to protect something genuinely valuable. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire that produced difficulty at a scale most of us will never encounter. His private journals reveal how he managed the daily friction of dealing with difficult advisors, political opposition, and the general human tendency toward unreasonableness. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not describing passivity. He was describing the specific strength that comes from having correctly identified where your authority actually lies. You do not have authority over whether your neighbor is difficult. You have authority over what you do with the experience of encountering a difficult neighbor. The authority over the outer world is limited. The authority over the inner one is, in principle, complete, if you are willing to exercise it. The three choices above are how that authority is exercised in practical terms. Know which one each situation calls for, and apply it deliberately rather than reactively. Protect your mind from replaying the past. The event may be over, but your mind can keep paying for it long after the other person has moved on. This is a specific and costly habit, and it deserves to be named directly. You cannot change what was said yesterday by saying it differently in your mind tonight. The conversation has ended. The words have been spoken. The behavior has occurred. None of it is available for revision. But the replaying mind does not accept this. It returns to the scene, adjusts the script, offers the better response that the actual moment did not produce, re-experiences the frustration, and arrives at approximately the same place it was when it started. Except now it is an hour later and the day's energy is further depleted. This is the mind continuing to pay for something that was already fully charged. The price of the original difficulty was the moment it occurred, the discomfort of the encounter, the friction of dealing with it in real time. That price is fair. It is the ordinary cost of living among imperfect people in an imperfect world. But the replaying mind charges the price again, and again, and again, until a 10-second remark has produced 10 hours of interior agitation. The original price was reasonable. The additional charges are entirely self-imposed. The discipline that addresses this is not the suppression of the memory. Forcing the mind away from something tends to return it there with increased intensity. The discipline is more specific. When the replay begins, acknowledge it. Yes, that happened, it was unpleasant, it is over, and then redirect the attention deliberately to something in the present that deserves it. The work on the desk, the person in the room, the task that is genuinely in front of you. The replay has nothing to offer. The present does. A mind that can return from the replay to the present, repeatedly and with decreasing effort over time, is a mind that is protecting its most valuable resource, attention, from a drain that produces nothing in return. Every time you bring the attention back from the replay to the present, you are building that capacity, and the capacity, built through consistent practice, gradually makes the replaying a shorter-lived experience. The mind still goes there, but it returns sooner, and each return costs less than the last. Take back the steering wheel. Your peace becomes stronger when you stop expecting the outside world to behave perfectly. This is the payoff of everything I have described today, and it is worth saying plainly before we close. The difficult neighbor may remain difficult. The boss may still have bad days. The relative may still misunderstand you. The colleague whose attitude has been draining the room may continue to drain it. The world will go on producing irritating people and uncomfortable circumstances with the same reliable efficiency it always has, but they no longer get automatic access to your emotional life. That is the shift, not a change in the people around you. That change is not yours to produce, and waiting for it is the strategy that keeps a man's peace perpetually dependent on other people's behavior. The shift is in the relationship between their behavior and your interior response. You become the man who can sit across from difficulty without being governed by it, who can receive criticism without spending the evening in its company, who can encounter the difficult neighbor, absorb the experience honestly, and then return to his own life without carrying that encounter into the hours that belong to his family, his work, and his own peace of mind. This is not indifference. The man who achieves this is not a man who has stopped caring. He is a man who has learned to care about the right things, and to refuse to let the wrong things consume the attention that the right things deserve. You have only so much attention to give during this lifetime. Spend it carefully. Give it to your work. Give it to the people you love. Give it to the things you are building. Give it to becoming the person you know you can become. Do not spend it rehearsing somebody else's anger. Do not spend it carrying somebody else's bitterness. Do not allow another person's lack of peace to become the price you pay for living your own life. The steering wheel of your interior life has been in your hands from the beginning. Take it back, hold it firmly, and drive in the direction of the life you actually want to be living. So, you cannot prevent the storm from arriving at your doorstep. The difficult people will continue being difficult. The careless words will continue being spoken. The friction of ordinary life among imperfect human beings will continue to present itself on an ordinary Tuesday, at an ordinary lunch, in the ordinary moments of an otherwise good day, but the storm does not have to come inside. The moment you understand that your peace is not dependent on the world behaving in ways that preserve it, something shifts. The difficult encounter is still unpleasant, but it is also temporary. And its ability to damage the hours that follow is diminished, not because you have suppressed anything, but because you have correctly identified what is yours to carry and what is not. What is yours, your response, your attention, your interpretation, your decision about what gets access to your interior life. What is not yours? The other person's mood, their words, their behavior, their opinion of you, their inability to manage their own difficulties without projecting them outward. Carry what is yours. Set down what is not. The years ahead of you are worth more than the agitation of other people's storms. Your family deserves the version of you that has not been depleted by carrying things that were never yours in the first place. Your work deserves the full attention of a man who has not divided it between the task in front of him and the conversation that ended 3 hours ago. And you deserve the specific daily experience of peace that belongs to the man who has genuinely understood this. It is available to you. It always has been.